Man, oh man, the Indianapolis Colts had another poverty season, and I am so happy as a Cartoon Wentz fan. Mainly because I can just sit back and laugh and things like that. But that's a different video for a different day. They pretty much robbed Carson Wentz. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about what the Colts need to do to address this roster, address this organization. Because this last play versus the Texans, it describes each and every offseason. They almost have a really good team, and even throughout the season they get many chances to win games and secure a playoff spot, but they just fumble it each and every year. So let's get straight into it. So what's good, YouTube? It is the one and only Fourth and Goal, better known as Wrigley, and as you all know, I am a big Carson Wentz fan. I have about every jersey from every team he's been on: the Eagles, the Colts, and the Commanders now. And yeah, I just like to make fun of the Colts, X, Y, and Z, whatever. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the things that the Colts need to address. Now, the Colts, they had a pretty bad year, finishing third in their division. I think a top 5 NFL first round pick and stuff like that. So one of the first things they need to adjust immediately is his offensive line. Now, in the passing game throughout the last couple seasons, the Colts' offensive line has been really good. But the thing is, the Colts, they also been sort of this run-heavy team with Jonathan Taylor, and in the run game, I mean, he cannot get any space, or he cannot get to the second level, because once he gets to the second level, Jonathan Taylor, he's unstoppable. He is impossible to bring down. And now, yes, I do understand that injuries play a big factor, and how the Colts' passing game was sort of mediocre with Matt Ryan, but when they played a top 10 run defense, right? In week 4 versus the Titans, as you can see, he had 20 attempts, 42 yards, and 1 fumble. In week 3 versus Kansas City, 21 attempts, 71 yards, 0 touchdowns. Yes, they won that game, mainly because of luck. I mean, honestly, that was just pure luck. But in week 12 versus Pittsburgh, 20 attempts, 86 yards, and 1 touchdown. And its averages and totals were about 20 carries, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. And he had 1 fumble. And hey, even versus pretty much every other team, now I'm not going to go through every game that he's played, but these are some highlights, right? The tie game versus Houston, they tied. He had 31 attempts, 161 yards, and 1 touchdown, right? In week 8 versus the Redskins or the Commanders, I was there at that game. 16 attempts, 76 yards, and 1 fumble. Mediocre. Week 10 versus the Las Vegas Raiders, 22 attempts, 147 and 1 touchdown. Versus my Philadelphia Eagles, 22 attempts, 84 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. And versus the Cowgirls, 21 attempts, 82 yards, and 0 touchdowns. And just looking at his averages and totals, 22 carries, 110 yards, average in those games, 3 touchdowns and 2 fumbles. But looking back just again, the thing is, I understand that, these are not super bad numbers or bottom of the barrel numbers, but when you really do look at the game, I mean, he only has a couple of runs that break out for 20 or 30 yards that make his numbers look really good. Versus the Eagles, he was in jail. He was in prison. He had 1 20-yard gain, and I mean, his numbers just didn't look that good. You can just tell, even versus the Raiders, if he didn't have that super long run, I don't think his numbers is going to touch 140, 130, 120, 110. Maybe not even 100. And those are just my thoughts. Now the Texans, the Texans just suck, so I'll give him that. But pretty much every other game, he only has one really good run that makes his numbers look really good. But even when we talk about 2021, in the games that he played versus top 10 defenses, again, he just looked poor. And I think Jonathan Taylor is a really good running back. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's that offensive line that needs to get addressed. Now, I know it's looking like I'm just bashing him and his skills, but again, I think he's a really good running back. I just think the offensive line needs to be retooled and get that fixed so he can be even better. And again, he only had 1 game last year versus the top 10 run defense when he cracked 100 yards versus the Niners. And I think the Niners at that point, they lost their whole entire defensive line at that point or something like that. And I'm not saying excuses, but I'm just saying, get that offensive line fixed. I think the Colts' schedule next year is versus a lot of top 5, top 10 run defenses, and I just want to see him, look really good. Now, moving on to the second thing that the Colts need to address, it is to re-sign Michael Pittman Jr. Now, yes, I did make a video on him and how he's, expected to get paid this summer. But that was before the award ceremony or the awards were given out this year and all that stuff. And as you all know, another young receiver just won Offensive Player of the Year, and he's about to get paid big time, and that is Justin Jefferson. Now, basically what I'm saying is the Colts need to re-sign, give him a deal before Justin Jefferson puts his name on a contract with the Vikings, because he's about to get paid so much money. It's going to reset the wide receiver market. And the thing is, Pittman's going to have even more leverage because he's the only good receiver on the Colts that's even worth re-signing, honestly, at this point. Any tight end, any receiver, and besides Jonathan Taylor, any other weapon. Now, the third thing we got to talk about, clean out the house. Clean out the house. Fire Chris Ballard. Fire his assistant, his receptionist, his assistants, his receptionist assistants. Fire everybody in the organization. Clean out the entire house. And I should have said this first, but this is going to be third. Okay, Chris Ballard, he signed in 2017, I believe. He has only won one playoff game. Made the playoffs about 2 or 3 times already. And quite honestly, I think he blames his problems on coaches, on these quarterbacks. And in all actuality, I think he's the problem. Not Carson Wentz. Not Frank Wright. I think you're the problem, buddy, okay? You don't know how to manage a team. Don't know how to run a team. Back in 2018 or 2019, I think, the Colts had just a bunch of money just to give out. And they did not go after free agents like a C.J. Mosley that have been a perfect fit with Darius Leonard. I think Leonard Fournette was out there. They want something real cheap for him. And, the Colts have had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to make this roster a lot better. And Chris Ballard is just holding them back. That's how I feel. Okay, if you disagree with me, hey, comment down below what you think. But those are just my thoughts. Get this man out of here, please. If anything, have me run the organization. I live in Indy. I can drive to the stadium every day, give me a little cup of coffee, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get the organization up and running back to Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? And quite honestly, I think we all know what the last thing should be, and that is just get a new quarterback. Going back to just the clean house and Chris Ballard, what he does is they're trying to get these Band-Aid quarterbacks, and there's countless videos, there's thousands of videos at this point how the Colts just need to sell to get a rookie quarterback. And I agree, need to get a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud or just somebody this spring in the draft, and draft correctly. And once you draft him, surround him with good weapons. You have Michael Pittman Jr. Get him other weapons. Very similar to my Falcons and Lions video. Get a security blanket tight end. Things that Colts need to do to make this roster a lot better. But hey, those are just my thoughts, man. Hope you all enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy your week. The NFL offseason is literally about to start. It's gonna get crazy, man. So I am out, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we are out, man. Peace.